Hello and welcome to the 14th episode of By the Fire with the Shamana, a short transmission bringing shamanic wisdom into your life, one conversation by the fire at a time. It is intended as a form of medicine to heal, open perspectives, and bring awareness, raise consciousness, help you regain more freedom and power over your life. If you are curious to discover why two identical decisions can carry completely different energy, today's episode is for you. Before we begin, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. You are obviously coming from other activities, other thoughts, and right now we are opening a sacred space for this transmission. So I invite you to take a few deep breaths. You inspire through the nose and expire through the mouth. Just feel the air you breathe circulating through your whole body, through each of your cells. Feel your body relaxing, becoming more present, more receptive, ready to activate your listening and learning abilities. And as you arrive more fully into this space, ask yourself, what is your state in this moment? How do you feel? If there is any comment section on the app where you are listening to this episode, I invite you to write how you feel there so we can include it together in this sacred space. And when you feel ready, enter. Last week, we explored the three voices behind our decisions. We discovered that our mind, our emotions, and our higher self do not speak the same language, and that developing discernment allows us to recognize which one is guiding us. This week, I would like to explore another aspect of decision making. Every decision begins with an inner movement. Sometimes two decisions may look exactly the same from the outside, but the movement from which they are born can be completely different. Imagine two people leaving the same job. From the outside, they both hand in their resignation. But the first person simply wants the discomfort to stop. They no longer want to wake up every morning with a knot in their stomach. Whereas the second person also leaves that same job, but something different is driving the decision. They have discovered a project they genuinely want to build, or they have found another opportunity that excites them. The decision is exactly the same. The movement is not. The first person is moving away from something, the discomfort of that job. The second person is moving away from something and moving towards something else. A new project, a new opportunity, a new chapter of their life. This may seem like a subtle difference, but it has important consequences because these two movements do not create the same future. When you are only moving away from something, your attention naturally remains connected to what you are leaving behind. You know what you no longer want, but you may not yet know what you truly want instead. And if you act from that place alone, there is a risk that you will simply recreate a similar situation somewhere else. This is how you enter a cycle of repetition. We've all been through that. Moving away is sometimes necessary. In fact, it can be the healthiest decision you can make. The purpose of this first movement is to create space for something new to emerge. And that is where the second movement becomes important. The movement toward something, toward a different way of working, toward a project that feels meaningful, toward a life that reflects who you are becoming. Without that second movement, the first one remains incomplete. The space has been created, but there is no movement. This does not mean that you need to have every detail of your future figured out before making a decision. But before acting on an important decision, it is worth asking yourself a simple question. Am I only moving away from something? Or am I also beginning to move towards something? Because there is a difference between making a decision and acting on that decision. The first movement simply creates the space that allows the second movement to emerge. And when both movements are present, your decision becomes more grounded, your next step becomes clearer, and you are far less likely to repeat the same pattern again. Now, as in every episode, I would like us to experience this transmission together. Before we begin this exercise, just a quick reminder to use your judgment and stay safe if you are driving or doing any activity that requires your full attention. Now, if you feel comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment. Take a slow breath. Allow your body to soften a little. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your face. And simply notice the space your body is occupying right now. Now, I invite you to bring to mind an important decision you made in your life. Perhaps you left a job, ended a relationship, moved to another city, or made another decision that significantly changed the direction of your life. Take a moment to place yourself back into that situation and ask yourself a simple question. What triggered the move? What happened just before you decided to act? Was there a conversation, a conflict, a disappointment, a realization? Or perhaps just one moment when something inside you said, enough. Take your time. Now remember what happened after that. Did you eventually find yourself in a similar situation again? The same kind of work, the same type of people, the same difficulties, the same emotions, just somewhere else. Or perhaps everything unfolded beautifully. Perhaps that decision opened the door to exactly what you were looking for. Simply notice what happened and ask yourself one final question. Looking back on that situation today, do I feel I acted at the right time? If your answer is yes, wonderful, there's nothing to change. If your answer is no, that's perfectly okay too. It simply gives you something to become aware of the next time an important decision presents itself. Now take one final slow breath, and when you feel ready, gently bring your attention back to the space around you. And as every week, I would like to leave you with a simple integration practice to continue exploring this concept during the week ahead. This week, simply become curious about the decisions you make. They don't have to be life-changing decisions. It can be something as simple as accepting an invitation, starting a project, changing a habit, or deciding to say yes or no to something. Before acting, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, what is triggering this movement? Am I mainly moving away from something? Am I moving towards something? Perhaps it's both. There is no right or wrong answer. The invitation is simply to notice. Because the more aware you become of what is moving you, the more conscious your decisions become. Awareness is the first step. The rest unfolds from there. What this episode invites us to remember is that life doesn't only respond to what you do, it also responds to the energy from which you do it. Before we close this sacred space together, I invite you to take one final deep breath. You inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth. And you simply notice how you feel compared to the beginning of the episode. You can also take a mental note about what you want to take with you from this moment by the fire today. And we can now close the sacred transmission space together. The journey continues within you. Walk gently, walk consciously, and remember, you are never walking alone. If the energy of this transmission resonated with you, I would be truly grateful if you chose to share it as you feel appropriate. Because every time this sacred space is shared, its energy continues to expand and reach the people who may need it most. You can also continue and deepen the journey with me on Substack. That is where I share Whispers from the Shamana, a weekly publication to nourish your deeper self and softly awaken the shaman within. The address is thedigitalshamana with an A at the end, .substack.com. Thank you truly for your presence here today, for taking this moment for yourself, and for stepping into this space. And I will see you by the fire again very soon.